Ready?
Ready.
Ready? Take
Yeah.
Go, man, go. Action.
Action.
Cut.
So, okay.
Like all the other methodologies for collaboration and learning and getting good shit done, this of course is very, very simple if you feel into it. I think it has a place in the family of methodologies that we need now to learn how to do more consciously and wisely, and also get done what needs to be done and stop doing what is not needed anymore. So somebody is needing help. I have a project and I'm not so clear. In the beginning, a person gets the caller, we could say. I think we use that word in the, 8 breaths. Somebody who calls something. Too many girls in our town is being trafficked. I want to change this. We need to get rid of drops at the train station, or we would like to have better tools for our kids. Whatever it is, somebody is always taking it up and having the balls to take that project or that need and do something about it. So from need is formed the marriage between the need and somebody who dares begin to say, I want to do something about it, it's almost like an initiation, like you make a baby at conception. Because many people see needs, but who's willing to say, I'm going to find somebody else to work with me to make this happen? So a lot of this has happened beforehand when people come to something like this. The need has already been determined, and you have found 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other people who want to work with you on it, whether it comes through your job or it's a voluntary, citizen organized project. The pattern is the same to me if you don't get stuck in the organizational context. So where this process comes in, and it's further down the line, the need is already known, maybe the purpose is not so crafted yet. And many times in the world now, people who are beginning to create these kind of, project that really matters are alone to win. So you have the fiery soul, and then you run, but you end up being alone. So this is also a process that's designed to help people find 2 or 3 other people with whom they can hold the project. Because it's part of the success is that we don't hold it alone. I think, having done too many projects already in my life since I was 4 years old, I started. As my mom said, you have been doing this all your life. So, clear, need, somebody picks it up, that person should be honored for it, that person is alone, that person is wise, to invite some other people to come join you, who are also not just there because they think you are interesting, but they're also interested in finding a solution to this need. That's important. So you just not, oh yeah, I'm doing it because I love you. No, it has to be because, there can be respect between people, but if we're just there because we want to help the guy getting it done, it's a weakness in my opinion. You need to be there for the purpose or for the need, and then co-craft the purpose. So in the case of what you are planning or we are working on here today, all of this work should have been done, which is why I'm suggesting you to interview folks and everything. And when I host this in Art of Hosting training, that's what I'm doing when I'm saying you can get help, come talk to me. When they come to me, I'm asking them. Because if somebody says, yeah, I have this idea, I want to do this, we'd build a teepee village up in the mountains. And so how far have you come? Well, I just thought about it this morning. It won't work here. It'll be a waste of time for him and anybody else. So you need to determine when you interview folks. and the tools that we have developed, and you can get all of those materials from Burton and Offrey to just look through it and see, because we have been specific about the steps. But let's say you have a group, they have seen the need, they have begun to craft the purpose. Maybe they haven't, you saw what happened today, this, they've talked about all the elements, but they haven't really found unity around the purpose. I think you will still have people come and need that, and that's okay. But it needs to be that they have decided that they want to do something about it, and they have some kind of mandate. If it is the boss and his team, then they are the mandate. If it is a group of students who need the mandate of their school leader, then it's wise that they have talked to the school leader, or they invite the school leader to join the team, which is what's beginning to happen in Lithuania. There's incredible collaboration happening between high school students and headmasters of gymnasiums out of that event we did in February. So far so good. So the criteria to be getting help in the context that we are talking about projektsmedie is, it's needed, it's going to benefit more people than yourself, you already have some help and some mandate, and some beginning clarity of direction. If you have deadlines and it has to be done in half a year, that's even more fun, because just make it more rigorous. So it's not like it all have to be very vague and so chaotic that nobody can find anything. There are people who will show up who are project managers, and they want shit done, and that's what they're coming for. And if you're going to pay your money, they pay for that, and that's beautiful. Just accept that. And then there will be people who are more in the chaotic zone. You have to be able to hold all of those tensions, in my opinion, and in my practice, not just the opinion. All right. So we interview them, we talk with them. If it feels like, yeah, this is ready, then begins the stage that you are planning for those 2 days, 22nd and 23rd of October, exactly in 1 month. So how you will design it, I don't know, because you guys are going to do it. But how I have evolved this is that then, so people come to talk to me, it feels right, I say yes. Then I bring, so now I'm talking about what could happen on the end of the 22nd of October or on the morning of the 23rd, depending on how you do it. So process-wise, at Designing for Wiser Action, after all this prep work has been done, is that I invite people to sit in 2 circles. So all participants in the same room, plenary. The people who are the project callers, and maybe 1 or 2 of their mates, and you'll see how you do this amount. They sit in the inner circle together with whoever is the host. Everybody else sits around. Those of you who were in St. Georg remember, I have some beautiful photos of that actually. I don't know if I send them to you, but I should. It's beautiful. And then I'll just speak how I do it, then you do it how you want. So I then basically set the parameters, much clarity I can give in maximum 5 minutes. What is the purpose of this? I honor them and say that we have people who have called for help. And now, in a moment, they're going to have 2 or 3 minutes to describe quickly the purpose of the project and what help they need. In the case of these 2 days, you could extend that time a little bit. That will be up to you to design on your prep days. But minimum, and before I invite them to speak, I then have, I said, the rest of you who will be the contributors and co-designers of these projects, please now listen, take pen and paper, and as you hear these callers, listen for 1 or 2 or 3 projects where you feel, that's exciting to me, I know something about this, I could contribute to that, and write the name of the person down. Because when we have heard the call from the people, the folks, those of us who are there to contribute and co-design with them and learn designing by doing it with them, are going to go and stand around them and create the teams. So the callers then are invited to make their call. Beautiful moment. Don't hype it up, but it's just sweet, like it's real. And you begin to, everybody begins to hear how they're actually working on behalf of, some are working on behalf of children, some are working on behalf of education, some are working on healthcare, some are working on creating a new type of business. It's like, I love it there because you get to see what's going on in society and the edge of the paradigm shift. Then they create the teams. Usually I have them stand up and they go around and they say, not too many, be sure we cover everybody so we don't have a team standing without anybody contribute to that. And whoever of you will do that, that's an important thing to brief beforehand so you don't have to direct people, you go there. It has to be, what do we say in open space technology? You move where it's meaningful for you, where you're passionate and you're willing to take some responsibility to help make this successful for people. Not just for the team, but for those people they are serving. I like to always hold that scope. And remember, one of the criteria is going to benefit more than yourself. It's not a selfish thing. Clear so far? Mm-hmm. Then we have prepared, and this will be part of all of your prep work. We have prepared the harvesting sheet template. There's examples I think you will get here, and the material group will work on it. Beforehand, I have had all the callers read the description, and whatever material group come up with, I really suggest that before people arrive in 1 month, that they have read, so that the teams know the process. And if you have the program ready, you won't have, but at least they know the designing provides an action part. The rest of the 2 days, you design the 2 days before, so you can't give that to them, but you can at least have them read the description of the process. Then minimum 1.5 hours. These groups are now working. You have given them a good workspace. Don't cram them. Not too noisy. I mean, you have Arbogast has many places. And care for those places. I mean, you don't need to put champagne and cigars there, but when they walk in there, that is, we can get to work here, and it's fresh and nice. And do you want to grab at the corner of that table there? There's a little copy of the template. Just take that. So the template should be drawn up big so they can work on it. And then the template is inviting them for a certain rhythm of their work. You saw how we were struggling a little bit this morning of, should we do the elements before the purpose? Should we, should we? It's like it's always this a group to come to consensus of the timing of the process can kill a group. People can argue about it for a whole day, which is why good hosting is you just keep it flowing. So, and I was just thinking, invitation group can think of this, but imagine if those groups, the real project groups that sign up for these days, are actually, when they have committed, that they're getting the template beforehand, and they have filled out that which is already clear. If they know the need and purpose, and one of you go meet with them, you go through this and say, please fill out what's clear and bring that with you. It's not. I'm not saying you should do that, but I think it might be an incredible way for them to come as clear as possible. And we put a lot in when we work on this. Of course, it's not perfect. We don't want any perfection, but we want to keep evolving in perfection. So, of course, you need to relook that. But somehow there's something around the targeting and the purpose in the middle, and it just helps people. And you need to brief them as they come. Seek clarity. Don't get stuck in confusion. it's okay to be, but it's not an argument, it's not a discussion. The contributors are there to help it move forward. People have already done homework. If you want to go argue about whether this is good or bad, go to a political meeting. This is not the purpose of these debates. Doesn't mean you can't disagree, but you're there to get work done. You're there to create, not argue. In the case of here, it'll be very interesting to see how you, after the 20th and 21st, would have spaced your time out for the 22nd and 23rd, because you had 2 days. And I suggest to consider to have begin the design process on the afternoon of the first day, because then people will have slept on it. It's also there's something about the night.
It's very important.
And then they can. But if we have a 4-hour process, as we have been doing in the out-of-hosting trainings, then after here there's a break, and then we do what we call a peer coaching cafe, which basically means two of the callers or the project team will stay together. We bring them together in a big room if we have it, and then we have numbered tables. So if we have 10 projects or 20 projects, they're numbered, so they come from wherever they are. They sit at the table that is their number with their poster. And then I said now, and I have asked them to decide it beforehand who is going to be there presenting and getting help from the coaches, and who's going to become coaches at another table. So I said, now guys, shift. 3 of you are going to be coaches, you know who you are, spread out to 3 other tables, and the 2 people from the original team stays together. So they all move at the same time. This is hosting with synchronicity. Mm-hmm. When they have taken their places, again here you have more time, I'll just give you how I can do it, but I usually say the first 8 minutes, and I time it with my iPhone, later. The first 10 minutes, one of the original project team presents how much clarity you have found already in the 1.5 hour you have worked. So, and use your poster. So what happened when we were working on it, I suddenly saw the purpose could be even wider than I thought, that actually the money we thought we had we could spend differently. We're beginning to see something. So you invite them to present what is clear already, and after that present what is still not clear. I like it to have it that precise. And I ask the contributors who come to that table to be quiet. Don't ask a lot of questions. Don't sit and keep developing it. You just want to hear, because the person who is presenting it is getting clearer. As you present your clarity and your unclarity, you are getting clearer by the moment. So there's great value in being listened to, and not, getting into speedy mind. You have to, and then after 8-10 minutes, again here you could maybe extend that. It's up to you to do it the whole time. I ring my bell and I said, guys, now we shift. Now the person from the project who presented it, now it's your time to listen. The other person from the original project team can have post-it notes and be the harvester, to harvest and write down the suggestions, gifts from the coaches that has come from another table. And now you have 10 minutes, if you are the coaches, to offer any respect for what's clear already, any little reflection of what you think about the project, and in particular if you have anything to offer where the project team is still unclear. So it's very precise, it's not talking all over the place. And then and I ask them not to blast the project team with a lot of extra ideas. They have asked for help for specific things. Please attend to that. So it invites focus of everybody and not masturbating wild ideas, so to say. Excuse me, lingo. But we all know when that thing starts in us, and it's intense to be one who holds a project or a little team that holds it. And all of these goodwill, free consultants blasting you with all their incredible experience and stories and blah, blah, blah. So this is why I wouldn't give too much time. In this case, you might even do this twice. You could have them come back, do this, then go back in their original team, keep working that. Then you could do another the next morning or the next afternoon, and then they come back. It'll be very interesting to see what you guys decide.
But you have also this time in between where they are by themselves?
Yeah, so let me come to that, because at one point, however, I know Monica has tried in the commission to do this twice with some of the colleagues there that worked well because they had more time. But let's say they have got coaching, whether it's once or twice, then they come back to their original table. And then before that, which is what you were hinting to, it's beautiful to let the harvester and the presenter just take a half-hour break. Let everybody release their energy. It's been intense. And during that break, allow the callers to be alone. In the case here, because they're project teams, sometimes in trainings it's only one person. So I would say, it could be the caller and the harvester. To gather their thoughts. What did we hear? And also bring in some coffee, rub their, their shoulders a little bit. Just give them a little spaciousness.
I have a question. In the peer coaching time, the caller is just listening. There's a presenter and there's a harvester.
So
which support him.
Yes.
He's just listening.
So the presenters first present, harvester just also listens. Then we shift to the coaching. Then the coaches offer, yes, and then it's good to brief. First of all, the coach is not to ask a lot of nosy questions, because then you eat up the coaching time. I mean, if you're completely unclear of something, it's not forbidden to ask, but and I even have said many times to the callers, even if you're asked a question, don't feel obliged you have to answer it. Take it in. Your harvester will harvest the question. And so you help it become calm and focused. And if you have time here, in that thing we did similar to this in Brisbane in April, I think I ended up giving them 20 minutes for the coaching session because I had more time and I could see, the clarity began to flow from the table. It was amazing. So, again, you can play. Then
but the presenter is also the caller.
No.
Yeah, the presenter and the
Not
caller is the
two
same
helpers.
one.
The presenter is
There's
the
only
same.
one helper.
One helper.
Yeah.
That was the
Caller presents.
Right.
The caller.
Harvester.
The caller presents. It has to be somebody who is really,
Here is listen.
Okay.
because what we are trying, if I can just have a pen here. Look, friends, just look at this for a second. There's the work, and there's the people, or the callers. In much project development work that we have all been part of, we just focus on the project itself. We make a good plan but nobody strengthens the people who are going to do it when we get to planning session. And so what I'm trying to obtain in this process is people who have individually have strength and who are as a team strength together. They can make any plan happen. even if the plan is not that good. But if you have a perfect plan to the weak team and no commitment, then fuck the perfect plan. And we have seen this again and again, how much money has not been spent in governments and municipalities and businesses and organizations around the world. Incredible plans, nobody was really committed to do it because nobody tended to all of this pre-work. Make sense? This is what you need to try to maintain in the strength of the people and the clarity of the process. And if they can harmonize, you've got gold. Willpower and clear path. So, however many coaching and however you create your coaching, they end up coming back after the break. They come back to their workplace and have half an hour, 1 hour, whatever time you have available to integrate all of it and take it as far as you can. When that, sorry. And then you invite everybody back to the original circle. There's a little bit of a ceremonial thing in this. I'm trying not to make it too much, but there's something about this honoring of people who dare pick up difficult tasks and begin to craft it. And there's a lot of folk in the world like that. Us ourselves included, and we're sitting in such a project. By the way, we could have used the designing for wiser action in preparing this day. Template. I mean, we did it by talking and we know it, but you know, if we'd done the template, I think we would have had more clarity. So you can think about that. Could the designing for wiser action be a useful process for the prep days with the hosting team? So you're not having that over here, but you're actually doing it, and then that way it gets into your body and the team's body. Just a suggestion. Fractal, I call it. In the small lies the big, in the big lies the small. Universe works like this, so if you harmonize with that, best friend you ever get. Oh. So, coming back, here again you have more time, so I would think wisely about, I'll give you the shortest version, which is what we have done so far, and then you can expand on it. But everybody comes back, they sit in the same way. So we have the calling teams, again here, if there are more teams, there could even be 3 from each project, because you all need to honor all of them, don't pick just one of them. Whoever hosts it now invites each of these people, the rest of us, to listen, to answer 2 questions. What am I grateful for? That pertains to the humanness of things. Not like people need to do an Oscar gratefulness, but like gifts have been given, they could be acknowledged. And what are our, in this case, the busy people teams, what is our next 2 wise steps? And they don't have to speak, but if they would like to, they're welcome. Everybody just listens to. And then you could close it by wishing them good wind, because their boat is going from the heart. And those 2 questions you can use, for example, because this would be, on those 2 days, 22nd, 23rd, you will have the projects in the Designing for Wiser Action be a part of that design, but everybody else, including the hosting team and the hosting of the hosting team and the contributors, will all be there. So you will want to have a checkout that pertains to honoring everybody's contribution. And you can elegantly move from the checkout of the callers to a checkout of everybody by simply saying, now anybody in the circle who has something to offer about what they're grateful for these 2 days, or a learning they are going to use or something, and what are their next steps. so far, that's the process. Clear? And from now on, you can dance with 2 days, not 4 hours. Or actually, you could say 3 days in which you can do the prep, and then 4 hours or 5 hours for the actual. But I have a sense, and you guys are going to work on it, that more could happen here. I think maybe an exhibition of the posters on the end of day 2, maybe even before that or afterwards, where they're standing around and you have maybe you could even have coffee and or a beer or something. And it could be this, and then say, we would like the project team to actually stand around and be available for, if you have 10 projects, you could do first 5 for 20 minutes and then another 5 for 20, like we do sometimes for converting open space. And then people can walk around and get more in depth with the project, which we don't have time to in the converting cinematic. So that, and you could also ask them, as part of their gifting back to the community that created this, that when they begin to manifest this project, that they feed it back on a website or a Facebook site or something, or the office site or something like that. That community of learners for those 2 days can follow the progression.
One thing that arises for me, why should we take 2 days if we have a sharp and short format? So I think we should use the time purposefully. So there is no need to extend it involuntarily, but there is also no need to make it too short. So for me, what I experienced in former similar things we did, is that often the people I was sitting with in a circle counseling the callers were not really aware of 8 breaths and such basic knowledge that would have been helpful. So people could not translate the chart and easily got lost. And therefore, one idea was to have maybe a teaching of the 8 breaths or something like that, so people are more familiar with what they have to work on.
I think that's
And
very
also to teach the chart,
right.
to really understand it, all people understand it. Because here only the callers understand the chart,
Right.
and that makes it difficult, because it's so complex.
So 2 days, I think, or 1.5 day, or ending
Mm.
after a little late lunch or something on the second day. But those teachings, and I think Manfred has talked to me about this now for 2 years. So I think we should hear what you're trying to say, that it might be, as you look at this, is there more cohesion between the 8 breath drawing and this that could be accomplished? And I know in some case we had actually done one that looked like that, but then somehow it didn't work as well as we thought, and so we ended up, I think this one was something we evolved together up there 3 months ago. Anyway, I think this is enough. We don't want to eat more time. We have our teams. And is there a
I've
question or two or a reflection from anybody that's here?
I've just one question, because I think we have quite a big hosting team, and there is a long time process. Well, I think the people are working. The hosting team can also work with the people in this time slot. But I think it's I'm thinking a little bit what is the big hosting team doing so far?
Those people that are coming for the prep days?
Yeah.
I would say, for example, this is one of the processes that needs to happen on the actual media.
Mm-hmm.
Some teachings needs to happen, some check-in, some reflection time, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the design for the, and this is where you need to be sharp when you are training those people to do it. I would say there doesn't need to be more than 2 or 3 people actually holding this particular one. And one, those of you who have done it before could then be coaches if there's 2 of those people ever, or whoever they are, who signs up to host this. You could be closely coaching them. Like I was, there for you for those hours. For the other folks, some to take care of the check-in of the morning of the, some to take care of all of the different things that constitute. So if you think of the whole thing, I actually think you will be not that many, and knowing who they are capable and already quite experienced folks. So.
And even they could, help, supervise, whatever, in every project. Then really go there, because I think there's the most help needed.
Those
not to take their work,
so
but to
the people who hold the role for this particular process, how it embeds in the 2 days, they don't go through those tables. But if the others who have, because there needs to be 2 or 3 people who hold the whole of it. Just as we
those are those.
Yeah.
But
Two or
it should
three.
be a very cautious coaching, so people don't be too
Take it
active,
over,
but just
Right,
step
yeah.
in when it's necessary.
That's a little bit what we also did. We went to each table a little bit, but had very little time. And it is just a lot if you mainly hold the whole process and then also go into the group.
But for example, for those of you who know this, that have been through it, you have been coaching, you've been hosting it, you've seen it many times, or sometimes. You could be eagling, like the role me and Marianne or Marianne, Monica held. So we were not sitting at any tables, but any table could call us over for 5 minutes maximum if the group got stuck, or if they just wanted some input from some people who've done a lot of this kind of work, and who has designed a lot of projects and made them work well in the world. Good enough?
I would have one question.
Yeah.
If we do now a process like this, you have like 1 caller and 4 people to a caller approximately. So if we do a registration and we have more projects than 1 to 4, it would be possible maybe to do two courses, or to think of that in the design of the 2 days, that probably we have more projects than just.
You were probably fetching the nice subji when we discussed this a little bit.
Okay.
I just try to remember back before lunch. Because I had said, when you were asking that question, that maybe if there are 5 people in the project team beforehand, they need to all be in that. But then Bertram was challenging it, and he said maybe 3 is enough. So as you meet with people beforehand, and this makes sense to say, there's 5 people in the project team, but for the actual design session, we would like to see only 3 of the original team, and the 2 others could be part of coaching. So members of project teams could also be coaching other people.
But we have like half project team maybe, and then there are like 10 more people who come with their own project, and we have just a few people who have no project. So if I calculate more or less, we should. Yeah.
I think I think we need to break into the teams. Work it there. If you get stuck, you can. Because I don't have the answer to it right away. I think there's so many moving parts. But again, you have a whole month for this.
Just maybe to think of it, or that we.
And one thing, of course, is that there's some mathematics to this that you need to get into. And somebody looks like they have good mathematical brains. I ain't, but I have Monica around. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope that was.